Yes.
Oh, 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 oh.
Come on there. All right, there it goes.
There it
Hello there.
Hi
Hello.
there. Let me tell it to I'm approve it to be on my timeline. Okay, very good.
You don't mind?
I see it. I see it. There we are, looking all lovely.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's coming up. It's coming up.
Yes. Add to my timeline. I see it. I see it.
Oh my. Oh my.
Yes. Okay. I
Thanks.
got my head turned everywhere.
Oh,
Oh my goodness. I got all these monitors going.
I know, right? Oh my God. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. Hey,
Live. Hello, Tonika.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Welcome. Welcome to our Saturday morning conversation. One that I have every Saturday as we count down to the You Ask Good Men Answered virtual summit. I'm so glad that you're joining us this morning. Some of you will be here live. Others of you will be listening to the replay. Oh, we welcome you all. We welcome you all. And you know how I like to begin stuff, right? You know how I like to do it. Come on, let's get in the rhythm this morning. If nobody's told you that you are enough, I'm here to tell you, you are enough. You are enough. Oh, come on, Tonika. You are enough.
I can't sing.
Hey. You are enough.
All right, come on in.
You are enough.
Sing, girl.
Yeah. I want you to know. I don't care what anybody's told you. I don't care what lies they've told you.
Yeah.
I don't care what you feel like you didn't accomplish. I don't care. I want you to know you are enough.
You are enough.
You are enough.
Let's get some people.
Yes. You are enough.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you are. You are enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are enough.
Come on.
Yes,
get your sing on.
Yes, you are. So again, welcome to our Saturday morning live. Oh, as we count down.
Yes.
You Ask Good Men Answered. It's our 4th year. And I'm telling you, I can already feel the groundswell impact that this summit is going to have in your life. Not just one where you're going to take copious notes, be excited for about a week, maybe 2, and then go back to life as usual. But what we're believing is for transformation, and that you will discover what makes you enough so that your relationships will be healthy,
yes,
and satisfying. No more banging our heads against the wall. No more tricks. Like I always say, tricks are for kids.
Come on.
Relationships are for grown-ups.
Yes.
So joining me this morning in having a grown-up conversation is Tonika Breeden.
Yeah, so glad to be here. Yes.
And before we get into some juicy conversation that I know you all have been waiting for, I want to invite you to comment. I want to invite you to share. As soon as you get up here, share it on your page, share it in your group, because we're getting ready to get honest about the things that matter, the things that keep us from showing up fully in our lives. We're getting honest. We're getting honest. I want to also shout out my good sponsors.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, these ladies have just blown my mind with not only their quality of service, but their quality of character that's reflected in their products. They're the ones who have provided the beautiful prizes that those who are registered have been receiving. So if you have not registered for our summit, make sure you go to www.goodmenanswered.com and register. It's free and it's online. But I want to shout out to Susie Lynette Sanders, one of our sponsors from Something by Net, Christy Catino, the Meal Fit Mama, distributor of It Works. Let's see here. Joy Worthy Johnson, the owner of Joy Sunshine.
Yeah.
Anybody? Melody Branch from Quotes from My Heart, and Maria Conda from Flourish and Freedom. We love our sponsors and we appreciate them so much. And also, make sure you mark your calendars, because even though we're having these discussions leading up to the summit actually convenes August 6th through the 10th. So mark your calendars so you do not miss not one of our 14 speakers and our bonus speakers. It's going to be wonderful, and it's also going to be transforming. So that's all the preliminary stuff. I know you're here for the juicy conversation. So again, my friend, relationship coach, author, writer, wonderful mom, fantastic person, Tonika Maria Breeden.
Hey, Suzette. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. Really.
Oh my God, can you see? I'm smiling from my liver, y'all. I really am. My toes are wiggling underneath. I am so excited because the conversation that Tonika and I had was nothing short of revelatory.
Wow.
Nothing short of it. You know how you get together with people that are like-minded and you have these conversations. But see, she and I are both relationship coaches. So there is no way, after we talk about how good the food is, in some way, shape, or form,
well,
we're going to start talking about relationships.
We can't help it.
Can't help it. It's just in us. It's what we're purposed to do. So Tonika, tell our listeners and our viewers, actually, what you shared with me that really caused us to step into something that was just magical and mind-blowing.
Yes. So we were having a conversation, we're eating our food, we're enjoying ourselves a couple of weeks ago. And I posed a question, which it came from one of my mentors, Shannon Yvette, and she got it from a mentor who asked her the same question. And the question was, and Shannon, if you're watching this, hello, I give you credit, shout out to you. The question was, what is it that you're pretending not to know? And we're talking about life. We're talking about the things we go through. And I said that question to Suzette, and she fell back in her seat. She fell back in her seat. What is it?
Because it was
about your relationship situation that you're pretending in your life.
Exactly. And what made me fall back in my seat, Tonika, was immediately I thought of the times in my life where something inside of me knew, something inside knew either it wasn't the right time, it wasn't the right place, something about this person wasn't right, but I wanted to be wrong. For whatever reason, I wanted to be wrong. And because I wanted so much for whatever it was I was hoping, whatever it was I hoped to gain, whatever validation that I guess it prompted or triggered, I wanted that. Maybe it's because he had cute eyes, I don't know. But maybe it was the potential, maybe he said those words that made me get triggered with hopefulness and made me just go completely deaf, dumb, and blind.
Well,
and press even when all the signs were there that it wasn't going to work, or that it wasn't the right place, wasn't the right connection, wasn't the right time. So why do we do that? That's the thing that I thought about. Why do we do that? Have you ever had that kind of situation happen? Can you think back to anything that when you look back, you're like, you know what? Something inside of me really did know.
Yeah. Why did I what lesson did I need to learn? What was it that my soul was crying out for in that situation? That I called forth this particular relationship, that I agreed to get myself entangled in a certain situation. Why did I choose to stay there when all of the handwriting was on the wall? And see, it's beyond relationships, Suzette. It goes in every aspect of our life. And in thinking about our conversation further, I believe our life, God speaks to us through our life. Our life speaks and we're not listening. Our God speaks to the patterns and the problems and the pains of our life. God is speaking and we're not listening. That's why we pretend that we don't know. Our life is speaking all the time.
All the time.
All the time. That relationship was speaking. Them flaming red flags blazing hot, they were speaking.
I think too, when I think you brought up a great point, because here's the thing. If you've never been taught to honor that knowing part of you, right? If you've never been in an environment to cultivate that knowing part of you,
that's so true. That is.
Then even though you sense it, even though you feel it, you're so used to pushing past it. Yeah. And I think that was what we talked about, how we high achieving women. And shout out to high achieving women. No diss, because I'm one. Tonika's one. Any woman that accomplishes anything in life has manifested it, has achieved it, has put action to their faith. So, hey, no diss. But when we really unpack, and that's what we do, we get underneath the skin of things. When I really think about my pushing past that inner knowing, it was because I was not taught to regard how life sends flags. I wasn't taught to regard it.
No, we're not taught. We're not taught. And when we're wounded and we're full of our past and we're full of the residue and full of pain and unhealed trauma and triggers and drama, our intuition, the Holy Spirit, the voice of God, that's dumbed down. We can't hear it. And it could be screaming wild in our face. But if we're so full of other stuff, we can't hear.
And we're codependent too. That's another piece of it. We are so used to asking other people's opinions. We're so used to, because we haven't given ourselves permission or felt that our voice was worthy of being heard. We don't trust ourselves. And so when our knowing kicks in, we want to check it out. And I can say, though well-meaning, there have been times when something inside of me was like, this ain't working. He's not the one. Something ain't right with this. He shouldn't be talking to me in that tone of voice. And a lot of times the is more about the energy.
That's right.
And we haven't been taught to pay attention to when the energy shifts from being warm and
Yes.
engaging and inviting to when the energy shift of another person or of ourselves falls.
Because we don't know. We don't take the time to get to know ourselves. And when we're wounded and distracted, we allow ourselves, we talked about the distraction and the fig leaves in that conversation. That blocks your capacity to hear as well. Because I want to be distracted. I want to be diverted. I want to cover it up. I want to be busy and dizzy. And I can't hear what this situation is showing. And I'm so busy and dizzy with my fig leaves and covering up stuff. I can't recognize what's going on in this situation.
Busy and dizzy. Oh my God, if anybody is listening, I want you to put busy and dizzy.
That's Minister Rudico Roberts. I heard him say, we're so busy and dizzy. We're with our distractions and our diversions, and we pretend that we don't know. God, I don't want to hear the truth.
So we get busy.
Let me go and spend my money. Let me go check out and I'm out on social media. I'm going to pretend that I don't know. Let me just.
Yep. Yes. Oh my God. So Tonika, I know you got your computer up. I'm so busy trying to make sure Zoom stays intact. If there's anything out there, please feel free to comment. Please, if anything is resonating with you, you know how we like it. Throw those likes up if anything's resonating. Throw that love up if it's really, really resonating. And if we just had an aha moment, put up that
let me refresh.
Emoji.
I can't tell. Oh goodness, y'all see, I'm looking away because I got all these monitors up.
Yes, and I'm so excited.
Someone wrote Sheila McCants, busy and dizzy, head spinning. Yes.
Yes, Sheila. Yes, indeed. We are busy and dizzy. And so we try our best not to know.
That's right.
So the question is, what are you trying not to know? I want you to take a moment. Those of you who are listening live, those of you who are listening on the replay, I want you to take a moment. Take a busy and dizzy break. Take a break from being busy and dizzy. Take a break. Get your bearings. Because if you don't acknowledge something, you can't change it, right? So take a break. And I want you to take a moment and write down, what is it that I know that I'm trying not to know? Because sometimes we go to people because we're trying not to know it. And if they validate our not knowing, it gives us permission to keep right on doing what we're doing.
And then we perpetrate the lie, and we're not showing up authentically in our relationships. And then we repeat the same patterns over and over again, because it's the truth that sets you free. It's the truth that you know and do. That's free. And so if you keep perpetrating and pretending that you don't know, then you're living an authentic life and you're not really walking in the truth. And so you can't have a truthful relationship if you're not being true to yourself, because you have that duality going on.
And let's talk about, since we're talking about relationships and we're counting down to the summit, let's talk about the people, the men that we meet. And many times when we meet somebody, we don't bring who we really are to the table. That's another way of pretending not to know what you know. You know who you are. You know what you like. You know those things. But when you decide to send your representative out on a date, you are pretending not to know what you know. When you stop being yourself and you become so focused on what he's doing, what he likes, what you've been told by other men about yourself, and you've decided, well, I can't bring my real self to the table. So let me do my hair differently. Let me wear something else differently. And then as the relationship goes, you become more invested in being somebody else that you think he wants than truly showing up as yourself. I told you we go in.
Amen.
Because we over 30, over 40, over 50 women and great men who are will be listening too. It's time for us to really tell ourselves the truth. And if you don't feel comfortable enough to bring who you are to the table,
you're not ready.
Then you're not ready to come to the table.
You're not ready. And so that brings a point. So when we were having that conversation earlier at First Watch, you may, and I wrote it down because you know I'm a great note taker.
Remind me, you can read it.
You said that when you would, before a relationship with a man would turn to the romantic nature, when it was maybe in a friendship stage or in a platonic stage, you would just be your normal, delightful self. Remember you said that? And then the minute that the man switched and decided, okay, he has a romantic proclivity, a romantic interest in you, then all of a sudden you left the delightful Suzette at home and you brought the needy and the critical Suzette to the date. So why can't you bring the delightful you, the playful you, the feminine you, the essence of who you are, but then when it shifts over to romance, now you are all crazy?
Oh, okay. Hey,
moments. This is what we do.
And I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that because dating authentically is bringing the truth of who you are. So what lids? What limitations?
Yes.
What ideologies? Ideas that really aren't serving you? What disconnects? The difference between what you say you want and what you present to the world. And what stories? What story have you told yourself that made you switch from being your authentic, delightful self to playing a role or bringing your needy, your desperate, your critical, your bag lady, your I don't need a man self once the man shows an interest? You know, because I don't know how things happen because I wasn't a person that dated. I didn't grow up dating. My parents did not talk about dating. Men came calling. That's showing how old I am, y'all. But men came calling. So I didn't go out on dates. So what ended up happening in my life is a lot of times I would have friendships, you know, unless the guy asked me to be his girl at school, I would make friends with people and only to discover the guy friend at some moment would decide it was time to let me know he had been carrying a torch for me all the time.
Wow.
And I'm going, I didn't know. And then we start talking about it. And it's when I really think, immediately when he told me, something would shift.
What is that?
You stop being the friend. You stop being the person that person fell for. And now whatever insecurities you have, whatever, all those things that you've been taught about men and how you have to, you know, all those different things, they come into play and they choke.
Wow.
What could be a great relationship. And we're wired to blame him for it. But what part do we play in it? What part do we play in it?
Relationships are mirrors, you know. They're going to show up every, you know, a romantic relationship will reflect back to you what's going on inside of you. So when that man shows up in your life, whatever's unhealed, whatever issue you have, it will come up fairly quickly. And so that's where that shift comes from. All of the fears, all of the defenses, all of the wounds, all of the walls, all that stuff, if it's not dealt with, that's what's going to come up. Not the authentic you, not the real you before you got hurt, not the real you before you went through the divorce and all of this stuff. But the stuff that's unhealed, that tends to show up quicker. That's what's happening. That's in that shift.
Yes.
That's what's in that.
In the comment section, write down, how am I lying to myself? Even if you're listening to the replay, write in the comment section, how am I lying to myself? You don't have to out yourself here on Facebook Live, but in order for you to get the kind of relationship that you want, you have to go there. A lot of us just want to know the nice, wonderful, accomplished part of ourselves.
That's good.
But we don't want to know what part of us has problems with being vulnerable.
Yeah, we want to show the performance orientation. I want to, we want to show, okay, I got my own house, I got my own car, I pay my own bills, I got it together. That's not all who you are. That's not all you are.
Been praised for though, Tonika, and I think that's the thing, especially for us women who have been striving so hard to get a seat at the table.
Yes.
So many of us have had to put our femininity on the back burner, trying to get respect.
And we become driven.
Yes.
Very driven, very performance-based, and it goes in terms of ministry, in terms of, the entrepreneurial stuff. And you made a point in our conversation too, that the reason why we don't heal from our hurts is because, again, we go back to being busy and dizzy. And you made the comment, high achieving women, when we're hurt, what do? We go start a project. What do? We decide we're going to be a hustle entrepreneur and we're going to get our grind on. What do? We go start another ministry, another project. We won't sit up and we won't take the time to heal.
We won't. We'll go find us another man.
Those become the things that we cover with.
And we'll find us another man.
No, what about the real you when you take all of that away? Can I have your presence?
Yes.
But we want to show, we got that Mary syndrome. Let me impress him with what I can do for you. Let me do for you. Let me do and serve and do. But what about you?
And how many of you have found that the more you do,
ooh, Jesus,
the less he shows up?
Wow.
Because I don't know about you, Tonika, and people that have come to me, women that have come to me that says, I do this for him, I do that for him, I do the other for him, I stopped doing this so I could be with him, I did this, I did this, I did this, and he still doesn't treat me the way I want to be treated. He still doesn't give me the attention. He still doesn't listen. He still doesn't help. He still doesn't.
Because we're controlling and dominating. And when we're controlling and dominating, then that's making the man passive.
Because Tonika, remember when we were talking, you had a book that you were referring to.
Yeah, The Captivating Woman.
We talked about the different ways that women show up. Talk about those two extremes.
Wow. The dominating woman or the desolate woman. The dominating woman is one that, because see, we get dominated because, and it started back with the basic premise of the book is in Eve, in the garden, when Eve sinned, the root or the origin of it was taking that fruit. And when Satan told the lie that you can have this fruit and nothing will happen, basically, it gave the impression that God was holding something back from her.
Yeah, he had lied.
Like, that God lied and that he's holding out on her, right? So let's take this forbidden fruit. Well, ever since then, the woman can't really trust because of that sense that God is holding back. And I can't fully trust God. And so that plays out in every relationship. So I got to control things. I have to manipulate things. I have to dominate things. And we have this relational void that's direct. And I'm not articulating this as the way it's in the book, but it's so powerful and profound. But as a result of that, we have that thing that's missing. Something's missing. I'm not enough. God is holding back on me. So now I got to grasp and seek and chase and dominate.
Yeah, because I can only trust
what I can see. Yes. And that's where it's coming from. And then you have the other extreme, the desolate woman who's very clingy, very needy, and she hides out. She doesn't express her voice. She's more passive, but she's more of that desolate, needy, clingy, codependent, letting a man run over her. So you have two extremes of the same problem. One woman can be very dominant, one can be desolate. I err on the side of being dominant. I'm just being real.
I've kind of gone in between.
I have done that too.
It's almost like you are dominant in your own life, making your own way. But then the man enters the picture and you might have that vibrato. But if you sense him getting disinterested, if you sense him retreating, if you sense that he's not as available for you as he was when you were first dating, if you sense that he's, something he doesn't feel as right, he doesn't seem as excited, he's not as available, he's not catering to you as much, then I would shift more to the
needy.
What do you need? If he says, well, you're too busy, then okay, I try to figure out how to be unbusy. If he's, you always are trying to make me do this and make me do that, then I back up and I say, okay, well, what do you want to do? Okay, and there's a balance because if you're not careful, you go to the different extremes. Extremely in control, extremely out of control. But healthy is the middle.
Yes, and we have to really work to cultivate that sense of healthiness, cultivate being healed on the inside. So again, that we show up authentically in our relationships. We're not trying to dominate and control, but we trust God and we trust ourselves, and we prompted by the inner knowing of, you say the Holy Spirit or intuition, that we can just be settled in our relationships and have our soul level questions answered so that we're not going to a man for validation or trying to control him, to manipulate it so that we can feel good about it, that we're settled and rooted and grounded. Self-love. Knowing ourselves so that we can just show up, in a state of relaxation and being at ease in the relationship. And not just God, that's just such a crazy place to be.
It is, and the thing you had mentioned something that was so powerful when we're talking. You said we can believe God for heaven. We can believe God for eternity. That's what you said. We can believe God for eternity. How did you put it?
Yes, and that was a statement again from Shannon when she was having a discussion. We can believe God for eternal life, eternity, but we can't believe him for our day-to-day life. I can believe him for the sweet by and by, but I can't believe him to heal me from my unhealthy relational dynamics or from my past trauma, or for me to just be able to have healthy love again. I can believe God for all this big stuff. I can go to church, fall out, speak in tongues, roll on the floor. But then I'm back into my high achieving, performance oriented, busting and grinding and hustling and being all hard.
Yeah. And it makes me ask the question, in our running and achieving, at what point did you leave God behind?
And you made the statement in that conversation that those areas where we're unhealed, that's where Christ has not been fully formed in us. We're not allowing that.
Mm-hmm.
When are we gonna? So I can believe him for eternity, but I can't believe him enough for him to be healed, to heal and be formed in that area of my life.
Yeah, we feel like we have to perform for him. Yeah, we feel like we have to perform for him. If we perform well, he blesses us. If we don't perform well, then life is difficult. Life is hard. We sinned. We missed the mark. We did something to piss him off. Well, and so we spend so much of our time trying to prove.
And we take that into our relationships.
Yes, and that's the problem. Because those of us that believe in God, those of us that believe in spiritual connectivity, whatever way you do it, the pathway to it is to get real, to ask the real questions.
Yes.
To become vulnerable and out yourself and tell the truth. Because
truth is painful.
Yes, and he's not going to reject you, strike you dead, all these different things. And so we come into our spiritual, whatever way we express it, whether you're Jewish or you're Christian or you're Muslim, we bring it into our whatever our faith base is, thinking that our performance is what makes us worthy. And as Tonika said, we bring that into our relationships. And when the guy looked like he ain't impressed with it, we don't know what else to do. We don't know where else to go because we have never taken the time to confront the truth. What is we trying not to know?
We put our worth and value in our being busy and our service and our gifts and our talents and what we can do and how we can serve. And at the end of the day, that's still not it. Your worthiness is not in that. And then what we do is the reason why it's so hard to confront the truth, because of course, truth is usually painful when it first hits you. It's painful. It's healing, but it's painful, right? And so again, we had that fig leaf discussion.
Yes.
You're a high achieving woman. You have the money to go out and buy extra diversions and distractions to get your fig leaves. You still want to be loved. You still want to be held. You still want to be seen and known and acknowledged and understood because of the trust, because of the domination, because of all the stuff and the unhealed things. Then, I can again distract myself. I can go travel a lot. I can spend money on all this extra stuff. I can keep myself occupied in a fantasy life and read my books and all of this kind of stuff and just extra things that we're doing to numb and hide out. And so I'm going to get my fig leaf. I don't want to hear the truth. I got to get this fig leaf. I'm going to start this project. I'm going to get my hustle on here. I'm going to be there, and nobody can know that I'm depressed. Nobody needs to know that I got these issues because I'm going to put my smile on and I'm going to post my pictures on social media and everybody will see that I'm okay.
And the issue now, which makes it even more difficult to Tonika, is we women now have our own money. We have the money to fund
our fig leaves.
Our fig leaves. We have the money to buy our diversions. We have the money to fund the very things that keep us in a state of denial. We don't want to go there. And I understand there are some places that you can't go by yourself.
That's right.
And that's why it is very important, especially the older that we've gotten, we got a whole lot of stuff laying dormant inside of us. And I think we said it. The way you can tell how healed you are is getting a relationship. Getting a romantic relationship, and that will reveal just how
healed you really are.
Because when you're not in one, you think you're all that.
And a bag of chips until that niche.
You are rolling, you're doing it, you're loving people, you're helping people in third world countries, you're feeding folk, you're doing this, you're helping a sister up, you're doing all these wonderful things, you're leading Bible study, you're doing all this stuff. You're praying people through.
Well,
as soon as you get in a relationship, as soon as a man is persistently after you and you are attracted to it.
Then you will really know. And going back to another point you made when you said the older we get, when we were having that discussion about, especially for those of us in our 40s and, you know, coming up into 50, you know, you're not coming at a relationship down here where you're in your early 20s. You've already built this life. You're coming together up here, right? And so now you've had a chance to get set in your ways. So whatever was unhealed, whatever stuff you had that you haven't dealt with, you had a powerful point, Suzette. You said it kind of gets calcified. And if you're over 30 or in your 40s, you get into a relationship, you better have some counsel, because there's some dysfunction, there's hard stuff there that has to be dealt with. Because when you're coming together at this level, is a whole different thing than coming together when you got grown children, when you're you further evolved in your purpose. This is why being in purpose is so important.
Yes.
Attracting a person at the high level of purpose.
Yes.
You're not the same person.
And a lot of us still we got high level aspirations, but low level relationships.
Ooh. Somebody put that in. I hope someone is sharing this. You guys are getting notes. Say that again.
We got high level aspirations, but we have low level relationships.
And why are we having low level relationships? Why are we having low level?
How are we doing it? Why is it? Why is it that you have to abdicate the truth of your divine self and the expression of it that is so unique and so wonderful? Why do you have to leave that when a man walks into the room, walks into your room, walks into the picture?
My goodness.
And then on the other side of it, because I do believe in grace, compassion, and all that. Because in the other side of it is being high vibration, going about your purpose, and then you be like, yeah, but I don't need him anyway. So he walks into the room, he shows interest in you, and you're judging him as if he is insufficient. He does not fit whatever your laundry list is. That most of the time is seeped in ego.
You better preach.
In the part of you that doesn't want to know. Because when you can't respect a man, when you see no value in him except for what he can do to support your ego. Let's get clear. To support your ego, then you don't have nothing to do with him. My thing is, if we say, and this is to all those that are Christians, if we say we love God and call what he said was good bad, then we got to check ourselves, because he knew when he created masculine and feminine.
Yes.
Split us up so that we could have man and woman. He looked at all we could be and all we could become and how we would express that. And he said it was good. It was good.
And you made a powerful statement. You know, that one made me fall back on in my chair. But you said, if you don't cultivate your right heart and cultivate your authentic self, the right man will show up, but your ego will dismiss him. If you're not walking in authenticity, you can be a high-performing, high-achieving woman in ministry and business, all got it going on, busy and dizzy with your 59 projects. But if you haven't cultivated that right heart, your ego will dismiss that man.
That's the truth. That's the truth. So I know we're coming hard, we're coming strong, but we're having grown up conversations. The reason why so many of us are still in the situations that we are in is because people have been pity-patting this relationship stuff.
Yeah.
And have given us permission to stay unhealed.
Ooh.
And it's time for you, if you want better for your life, it takes effort. You cannot expect the man to come in and fix everything that's broken in you. You got to do some work on yourself first to give him something to work with.
That goes back to the dynamic we had, the kings and the queens discussion.
Yeah.
A king is going to come already cultivated and ready, and a queen will be cultivated and ready, and they're coming together up here. Now the problem is, and you know, because we're not here to fix, help, heal, and deliver each other. When you come to the level of I'm walking in my queen, you know, you hear that phrase, I'm a queen, I'm a queen, I'm a queen. Yeah. But we're still functioning down here at peasants and you know, you said there's a prince to princess dynamic, and there's a king to a queen dynamic. So prince to princess is like, oh, we just at the level of the ego. You got a nice job, you treat me right, you return my text messages. Yeah. You bring me flowers, we go on the nice dinners, and we're in the dates and dinners, and you're giving me attention. Yeah. But king and queen level, this is a level of authority, this is a level of responsibility, it's a level of where you're ruling. There's a higher level of vulnerability and authenticity at this level because it's so much at stake and it involves purpose. But we get stuck down here at the prince and princesses level. We're looking to fix each other. There's the codependency. We're still at this little level of not really being in the truth.
And you talk to people who are purpose driven. You talk to strong, successful women, and they're still talking about stuff like he had on the wrong color shoes. They're still talking about height. They're still talking about skin color. They're still talking about things like that, which having your preference is fine. But just because he meets your preference doesn't give him a front row seat in your life.
Ooh, did y'all hear that?
And he earned the right to be there.
Is he worthy of your heart? Does he have the capacity to cover you in your calling? A king will have capacity to cover you for where you are now and for where you're going.
Yes. Is there a mutual respect? Mm-hmm. Because, you know, we both have, Tonika and both of us, church. We've been in church. And the first two marriages I had were with a church man. And whether there's some people that have done that, married somebody in the church, thriving relationships, thriving marriages, wonderful families, great ministries. But then there are others, myself being one of them, and I had to face that. I had to face because of the way I'm made, because of my out-of-the-box thinking, because of my proclivity to look at, wait a minute, not what everybody else is saying, but wait, what is that thing that you're not saying? What's that elephant in the room that we're not acknowledging? That's me. And so a man that wants to hold me to a certain doctrine and a certain tradition and put me in a box, that ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
A man that just wants me to sit and nod and defer to whatever he says, no matter whether I think it's the right thing or not, it ain't gonna work. And because I have a very strong sense of self, not a strong sense of domination, but a strong sense of self. I matter. What I have to contribute to the world matters. And if I have a man in my life that only wants what he wants to matter,
that's not going to work.
It's not going to work. And so we have to hold our dating and who we allow to spend time with us and text us and pick our brain and be with us. We got to find out where they're at. Because our time is precious.
The older you get, the more you pour into yourself, the more you develop that authentic you, the more rare you become. Most people don't take the time to do that soul level work, that soul care. And so if you spend a lot of self-development time, instead of, spending $1,000 on weaves and stuff and trips and all this extra stuff, put that money in developing and investing in your inner healing.
Yeah.
You have a very strong sense of who God created you to be. And like what we said, like attracts like. And so you'll attract a man that is just as strong in who he is as you are strong in who you are. But if you are really evolving and growing and deepening and developing as a woman, then you should draw and attract a man that's doing the same thing.
Yes, and you spoke about something really important. It's important to find someone who has a sense of purpose and a sense of service.
That's good.
But it's also right along with all of that. Have they cultivated a heart that is open? Have they cultivated a willing spirit? They might be attracted to a woman, but do they actually like women? She might be attracted to a man, but does she actually like men? And I'm not talking about lesbian or homosexual. There are a lot of people, when a person is trying to make you stop being who you are, if you're a man and that woman complains because in your manliness, you're not acting like she does. You're not showing emotion the way she does. You don't relate the way she does. And she's criticizing you, making you want to be a hairy version of herself. Then she has to ask herself, do you like men? Do you like masculinity? Or do you find it intimidating? And it's hard to be in an intimate relationship with somebody you feel like you got to fix.
It's very ego-driven to think that you have the capacity to fix another human being, first of all, because we barely can fix ourselves. It's so hard enough to work to change me. How I look trying to change a man. The best thing I can do is work on me. I love the quote by Christina Rilo: unhealthy me plus unhealthy he will always and unequivocally equal an unhealthy we.
Somebody write that in the comments.
Y'all better write it down. Unhealthy me, put me in all caps, plus unhealthy he will equal an unhealthy we. The only part of that equation I can change is me.
Oh, Tonika, we have given people a lot to think about today. Oh my goodness. For those of you that are listening, like I said, I appreciate you. I would shout you out by name, but I don't have it.
My time. Yes.
But please know, we appreciate you. Just the mere fact that you listened. Those of you who are listening live, those of you who will listen to the replay.
Thank you, Sheila McCantis. You're listening. I see your notes there. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Sheila McCantis. I appreciate it. Not homegirl, but UNCG alum. Yes, I appreciate you. I appreciate those of you that are listening. We appreciate those who will comment, even if you listen to the replay. If something resonates with you, comment.
And share it.
Yeah, share it, because you never know, somebody else coming back listening, you may say something in your aha that allows them to have an aha. So don't hold back. Share your comments, share your questions, share those things, because hey, I know I look back at it, and I know Tonika looks back at it, and we truly do respond, because our job here isn't to be right. I out myself all the time. The only thing that makes me an expert is that I've taken the time to become an expert on me. And I'm able to share the insights that I gained and the dark corridors I had to walk through.
Amen.
To get to the truth about me so that I could bring my gracious, true self into my dating and relating. And just because you find the man doesn't mean the work doesn't continue.
Come on.
You are going to have to continue even more so, because now you're interacting with somebody, whole person to whole person, that have two different life experiences. And somehow in the sharing, in the ability to be vulnerable with each other, in the having each other's back, even when you're in conflict. Because many of us stop having each other's back when we disagree or we get hurt.
That's when we mess up.
In the carefronting, being able to get away from each other, you know, taking that time when you're processing it, where he's looking inside of himself for answers and for truth. Yeah. You're looking inside of yourself for answers and for truth, so that when you come back together, it's more productive.
Amen. Yes. That's mature love. Thank you so much, Suzette. Mature love, when you can be in the midst of conflict and still hold a safe space for each other. So I encourage you guys to sign up for the summit.
Oh, yes.
Be sure to sign up for the summit. I am close to my time because I know someone is coming to my house around 10:30, but just sign up for the summit.
Yes, and Tonika is a return.
Yeah.
So she knows that it is quality. It is well worth it.
Absolutely.
So work on yourself so that when you hear these speakers, you'll be able to hear from men as men and be able to process it from a place of clarity and open-heartedness, not from looking at it distorted. Because if you look at it distorted, you're going to miss the true magic and the true message. Well, you know how I like to leave things. You going to say it with me, Tonika?
All right, go ahead. You don't
need everybody. Just the right somebody. Later, y'all.
Later. God bless you. Thank you.
I love you.
Love you too.
All right. Bye-bye.